Welcome back to AM Northwest. Don't let critters drag your garden down. Here to share his methods for keeping moles and other animals away, we welcome back Executive Director of Growing Gardens, Jason Skipton. Great to see you. We've been taking questions for you from our audience, and let's just start with a question.
Yes,
This
please.
is from Julie in Sandy. We're going to get right to it. Julie in Sandy says, how best can I eliminate moles that have gotten into my garden boxes and from below? I have 2 tall garden boxes and moles have unfortunately got into one of them. At the end of this growing season, I plan to remove the soil and put down heavy-duty garden liner at the bottom and up the sides.
Yeah.
How far up the sides should the fabric go?
Great question. Yeah, so moles can be a problem for sure, and I'm glad that we got this question. So a couple of things that we want to think about. So I brought in this container to think about as the raised bed.
Okay.
So what you want to do is you want to use a metal screen.
Oh.
So something, I wouldn't go any smaller than this because you want to also think about drainage.
Right.
I would really think about something kind of like this hardware wire, or it's like a 1/4 inch kind of square, because moles are actually pretty small. They can actually come through and, like, you know, like the size of a quarter. Anything smaller than that, so chicken wire won't really work because the moles can actually dig through that, right?
Sure.
Any kind of the fabric, they can actually, because their claws, they're digging in the soil all the time. Their claws will actually tear through if there's like a fabric.
Oh.
So what you want to do with this is you want to actually, and I'm glad she's taking out all of the soil, because you'll then want to then place this all the way around and at least have it overlap by a good 4 to 6 inches. You don't need to bring it up the bed. You know, she had talked about wrapping it up.
Sides.
You don't need to do that, but you want to make sure that it's completely covered underneath and at least 6 inches outside of your box. Kind of like this where it's hanging out, because the mole won't go around that. Also, moles don't come up to the sunlight. They don't like sunlight. That's why they're underground. So I would say for this question is place your screen just outside of your box by at least 6 inches.
Okay.
And then the moles won't be able to come up through that. But you're going to need to remove all of the soil and then place that metal screen down.
Any other tips for that, keeping moles out of your garden?
Yeah, great question. So there's also, if you want to do and start to incorporate this into your garden now, we've talked a lot about coffee grounds.
Yeah.
Right, so moles also do not like coffee grounds. So you can sprinkle this and kind of like embed this into your soil. Castor oil, so you can take some castor oil and pour that over your soil as well and water that in. They don't like the smell of castor oil.
Really?
And then there are some more, like, you know, serious forms of this. You can actually buy traps. That traps will go down into the soil and then the mole will come in and get trapped inside of it. I'm more leaning towards of like what can you do to like prevent them from coming there, because you're not going to be able to remove all of the moles out there. So coffee grounds, castor oil, and then the metal screening on the bottom.
Are moles the ones that will pop up through your yard, your grass?
Like your grass and kind of create the mole, like the mole holes or mole hills? Yes. Those are the moles.
How do you handle that?
Yeah, so that's where you know where they're at.
Yeah.
And so, so if they're in your yard, you can actually, you know, get like a trap and things like that. There's other products out there as well. What I would do is dig up those holes or those mounds and then put coffee grounds in there and being active when you see them around.
Okay.
To deter them to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh, because it's not pretty.
It's not pretty.
No, it's not. Okay, and you say that there is a really big problem when it comes to critters. Cats.
I know we all love them. We don't love them in the garden.
Yeah.
So we have to be very cautious about this. There's a lot of things to think about.
Okay.
Right? They can be very detrimental to your garden.
Yeah.
They can create a lot of havoc. They can actually dig up your plants that you have in there if there's new kind of seedlings. They also poop in your garden bed. Right? And so that's something that we really want to try to avoid because you can get sick from it. Maybe people have heard of toxoplasmosis. It's a parasite that actually lives in cat poop. It can live in the soil for up to 8 months once a cat has pooped in your garden. And it's basically contacted through skin. And so a couple of things what you need to do is you want to create a habitat in your garden that's not soft and the cats really come to.
Kind of like litter.
Yeah, kind of like litter, right? And so you want to create something that is not as inviting for them, but you also have to stay active, right? So I'm going to talk about things that you can do to avoid them. Mulching with pine cones.
Oh, great
They
idea.
don't like that kind of idea,
Yeah,
and especially the ones that are really kind of like pokey.
Yeah.
Right, so think of like those pokey things. So I brought in a couple of examples. Right now, you're going to be pruning out raspberries. You're also going to be maybe pruning out barberries or your roses, right? Your roses are also a really good thing to think about and how to then use those clippings. And you want to mulch basically around your garden. So the cat's going to come up to it and be like, oh, what's this? And then touch it. And they're going to actually not want to touch this material.
Sure.
Because it's going to be hard on their paws.
That's a great point.
Right? So think about that way. But also what you need to do is remove the poop. Because once cats then know that this is a place to poop, they're going to then come.
In the same place.
They're going to keep coming back, right?
Yeah.
And then they're going to invite their friends.
Yeah.
And then their friends are going to come over, and then you're going to have a big poop party.
Right.
And you're going to be like, oh man, like what do I do? And it can get really, really bad. And so you need to start actively removing that.
Yeah.
I would say like your safety is a high concern.
Okay.
Use gloves. Yeah. Don't just be digging in there with your hands. Wear a mask.
Okay.
Right. This is important.
Yeah.
Also, what I'd like to do is. What I'll do instead of, maybe I don't have a glove, I'll, just like you would with the dog poop, go through there, pick it up, and then wrap it.
Yeah, that's the best
You
way
don't
to do.
put this in the compost, goes right into the trash.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another great mulch is also this straw. This is also another thing, cats don't like this texture. It's too dry, and they have to dig down really far to get to the soil. So this is going to also deter them from being there.
That's a great idea. I also didn't know that you brought critters with you.
I brought some, just in case to like show. There's rabbits out there that can do it.
Rabbits, we have a lot of rabbits in our neighborhood.
Yeah, rabbits will be around, they'll eat plants. They'll eat kind of like the soft, like new growth.
And the same thing with them is make sure you've got some kind of mulch on top of your flower bed.
Have some mulch on top, but also what I like to do is I'll get like just a spray bottle. And you just be active in your garden, right? You're going to be actively removing this poop. You're going to be actively putting things that are thorny.
Yeah.
I'll just get a spray bottle, just water, and if I see cats come around or if I see them get into my garden bed, I'll just start to spray them.
Yeah.
You want to deter them from being there, but you have to be consistent about it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an excellent answer. Okay, we want to have your questions. So if you would like to ask Jason a gardening question, all you have to do is send it to us, and Jason then will answer it in our upcoming segment. So all you have to do is email your questions to amnw@katu.com. Jason, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
And tell your boys thank you so much for the animals.
I will, for sure.
We appreciate that.